Hey guys, how we going? So on the weekend we had a few races, our last races for the season. We had Sydney 1 for the ordinary race, the National and the Breeders' Plate. So 600 Ks to my place, and yeah, I made a pretty big mistake this week. We had my daughter's birthday, so I was running around trying to get that sorted, and I was in town and didn't get my clock on, which is pretty dumb. So I got a phone call saying that the birds were home pretty early. So I raced home to find two birds sitting in the loft without the clock on. So I don't know how long they'd been sitting there, but I'd say they'd been there a little while. So I quickly grabbed them and threw them across the trap. And so this was my clock bird as such, but I'll show you the other bird that was sitting in here as well. I think he was actually the first one here. He looked pretty full of beans and charging around the loft, so where this one was sitting down pretty quiet. But 2982 is the one on the sheet, and she's a blue check, dark check hen. She's a 2020 rung bird, so she's a 3-year-old, I suppose, now flying, and still got her coming, so she's doing well. We'll keep her going. So this is the bird that I think actually got here first. 3308. He's a dark cock. He's pretty well all Gudger. And he dropped with the clock bird for Port Macquarie, 310 kilometres. And he was the second bird home from Sydney 1. So he's done Sydney before. And I think he was my first bird. He just seemed a lot more full of beans and was in pretty good nick. And yeah, pretty stoked with him. He's been flying pretty well. Keep him going. Yeah. Mistake I won't make again, not putting the clock on. Just silly, but things happen and we'll roll with it. I still managed 4th club, even though I was probably half an hour after they dropped, but never mind, we'll be right. We also had the National on the weekend, and if you've watched any of the other videos, you probably recognise my clock bird. It's a grizzle hen. She's the thumbnail on one of the other videos, and yeah, it was good to see her come through. She ended up 3rd club, so I'll take that. And yeah, she's a nice little hen. So we had the Breeders' Plate on the weekend as well from Sydney, and my clock bird was 0214, bred by Gary Butts. And I had 2 to put in the race and got both of them home. This is my clock bird, a little blue check hen. Little tick eye on her there by the looks of her. And yeah, she hasn't done anything spectacular this year, but she's been coming home, and she dropped the next morning at 9:26 in the morning, so didn't get her on the day, but still happy to get her home, and me other one, who was also bred by Gary. So yeah, see how she goes. We'll keep her over for next year and see if she does anything better as a 2-year-old.